Hi friends, it's Claire from ScrappyNerdUK and I am up first for UK Scrap Addicts this month. And this month we are concentrating on incorporating another hobby into our scrapbook layout. So I like to crochet. I like to knit and crochet. I haven't done knitting for a while, but I made these crocheted hearts. Now I am going to post a separate video on how to make these. So if you are already a crocheter, then this will be a little tutorial if you don't know how to make these. And if you're not a crocheter, then I encourage you to give something else a go, especially in these times as we are at the moment. Try out a new hobby. You do have to have some patience with crochet and don't give up after your first try. And yeah, just keep going, keep practicing until you get it. So what I'm doing here is I am doing a chain stitch. So what I'm doing is I'm going up and coming down into the same hole and then leaving a loop and then pulling up through the next one. So up, so down into that same hole and then up into the next one and then pulling through that loop. And I'm going to do a couple more as an example. So down into the same hole, leaving myself a loop, coming up into the next one and then pulling that tight. So that is how you create a chain stitch. So I'm going to continue doing that the whole way around. And once I've done that, it looks like this. So I wanted a bit of a twirly, swirly, bordery line thing in order to have somewhere to almost attach my crocheted hearts to. So I didn't want them floating on the page, and I think the chain stitch looks really effective with these. So I'm just deciding where roughly I want to add my crocheted hearts, and I've done them in 2 different sizes. So next up, I've actually hand cut my photo. I didn't have a punch and I couldn't be bothered to get my dies out. But I didn't have a punch that would fit the size of the photo. So I just decided to hand cut it. And I think that's a lesson to us as well. If we don't have the tools, just don't be scared to give it a go. Do it freehand and it's fairly even-ish. So this photo here is of my husband and he likes to mess around with the female Snapchat filters. That's how he rolls. So I've had this one from June last year in my box to be scrapped. So I thought I would add it on to this layout. And I'm just literally got scraps of the, I think it's Heart Day by Create Paper collection left, so I've just dug out an older collection. I'm really stash bashing at the moment. I'm trying not to buy anything new until I get through quite a bulk of, I've got a lot of stuff, and so this exercise of stash bashing is really helping. So because I want to lay that photo just over that chain, the chain stitch where it's got that loop, I'm just going to add on some foam dots and a little bit of ATG tape. And then I've laid it just underneath where that loop is, so you can still see the loop on the chain. And I thought I would give a go at attaching the crocheted hearts in different ways. So first of all, I'm going to stitch a couple of them on. So I've just created 3 holes above the line and 1 below. So I'm going to come up through that first hole at the top and then down and grabbing onto that heart. And then up through the next hole on the right and then again down through the heart. And then up through the hole on the left and again down through the heart. So the heart's just going to be attached by the strands at the top. And I'm just going to retighten this one with another stitch because it was a little bit loose. So yeah, some of the hearts are going to be attached by stitches. So I wanted to show how there are multiple ways that you can add these sort of embellishments on to your layouts. And the back of my layout is an absolute mess because of all the washi, but that just holds down the strands of the embroidery floss. So I'm going to do the same again for this little red heart. And so I'm going to come up through the middle and then down through actually holding on to that heart. And again, those extra stitches will just secure it a lot better than if I was just to do one stitch. And I think it adds a nice little element as well, a different element to it with having it stitched on. So they will lie flat when it goes into the page protector anyway. So, and obviously anything that you make that's crochet is naturally going to give you a little bit of bulk on the layout, but as long as every layout in my album doesn't have something that's crocheted on, then I'm not too fussed about having something a little bit too bulky on one of my layouts. It's not much thicker than a chipboard piece anyway, so I'm okay with that. So I've also stitched on that red heart at the top as well. So next I'm going old school. I'm going to use some brads to attach some of the hearts. So in my stash I've got these red brad hearts. So I'm just going to use a couple of those to attach some of these crocheted hearts onto. So I'm just poking a hole through the paper and using that over the crochet. I'm just doing it in the middle where the natural hole of the heart is. And I think they work so well with this layout, especially because they're red and I've got the red hearts on there as well. So I'm just going to add this one onto that little white heart. And I think I had another red one onto that pink heart as well. So where I laid my hearts originally on the paper, they do end up getting shifted a little bit. As I'm putting the layout together, they get moved around a little bit when I'm happier with the position of them. So I thought rather than having a whole load sort of individually along the chain stitch, I would try and cluster a couple of them in together. So here we go, I'm just clustering that one in, and you can see that the third way that I'm attaching them is just using some wet glue, making sure that I'm putting plenty of glue on there. Not so much that it's seeping through. I mean, the stitch on this is quite closed anyway, so there's not a lot of holes to be able to see the glue through. So I'm fine with that, and the glue holds. So next up I'm going to work on my title. So I've got these thickers in my stash, and I saw this pink glittery word that says heart, and I thought I would title this "You Have My Heart." It works with that word. And I'm just going to use these tiny little white alphas to finish off the rest of my title. I'm just going to speed this up now. There we are. So I've had to Frankenstein my E. I had no E's left, so I've used an F and just added on a little accent piece, a little line at the bottom from another one of the thickers. So again, these are from my stash. I can't remember which collection these are from. I think I got these in a retreat kit. So I'm just going to use up some of these because the colours and obviously the theme of the hearts work. And so I'm just placing these around the layout. So you'll see I am a bit indecisive about where I put these hearts, and I'm just trialing them in different positions. And I decide to have my 3 clusters, one to the left. I do put that glittery pink heart there, but it does end up moving because I decide that I do want to make sure that I'm clustering these in together rather than having multiple areas of hearts. So again, that one I think ends up getting moved. So I end up with 3 clusters, one to the bottom left, one to the right, and then one to the top left just above my photo. I wish I could have got that chipboard heart on that says you're a gem, but there was just no space on this layout for it. So you see here, I'm just adding in this chipboard piece again. These are from Heart Day, and just getting my stash bashed. You can see there that I'm really thin on the ground. I've got no 12 by 12 paper left. I've got a couple of 6 by 6 papers and a few scraps. And then maybe a third of the chipboard sheet. So that is all now on. Now I'm going to work on the wet elements. Now don't do like I did. I decided later on that I actually wanted to back my layout onto a piece of patterned paper as well. And I did it after I did the Nuvo drops, which is stupid because there's always the risk of smudging it. So I just used some in coordinating colours, and the ones that are quite milky actually dry clear. So those will be dry in a couple of hours, and you'll see those in the photos. If you want to head on over to the blog, there'll be close-ups on there of this layout, and also if you don't already, head on over to our Facebook group and onto our Instagram. Go and give us a follow there as well. We have all of the social medias. So as I said, this is where I am really risking it by doing my trimming down of my paper now. But hey, I didn't manage to smudge any of those Nuvo drops or the splatters that I put on. So I'm fine with that. And I really like it on the pattern background as well. And I think that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for joining me today. If you are watching on my channel, then be sure to head over onto UK Scrap Addicts and vice versa. And I'll see you next month for another layout with another theme. Take care, guys. Bye.